Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Monday, the 28th of June. Following Robert Murray McShane's readings, we reach the end of Deuteronomy, reading chapters 33 and 34. In chapter 34, Moses, the servant of the Lord, climbs up to the top of Mount Nebo, sees the entire promised land, but he doesn't get to go in, and he dies on the mountain. Verse 5, and Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in Moab, as the Lord had said. And then down in verse 8, we read, the Israelites grieved for Moses in the plains of Moab 30 days until the time of weeping and mourning was over. And as I read that, I thought, for the entire community that was there, Moses had been the one constant. All the people that he'd led out of Egypt had died in the wilderness, so this generation, these Israelites, had been born after the exodus from Egypt. So Moses had been there from their birth onwards. He'd been their guide. He'd been the person who'd brought God's word to them. He was the person that took their needs and cries to God. He was their final judge. He was the person that led them. He was the central figure in the life of the Israelites. And now he was dead. What would they do? What did they think? What went through their minds and their hearts? They faced this uncertainty. This one constant was no longer there. And that immediately got me thinking about where we are in South Africa today, where the president declared lockdown level 4 yesterday. So people, if they can, are working at home. We're getting ready to close the church office. Our services are all online again. We can't go out to restaurants and things. The economy is going to take strain yet again. People's livelihoods are going to be on the line. And we're facing a future where we're not entirely certain what's going on. Vaccinations are being rolled out, but we don't see that any country in the world has ended it yet. And the countries that have seemed to be doing best are the ones that are isolated. In a place like Australia, which has had very, very little COVID, suddenly has a resurgence in COVID infections. This is something that's going to be part of our lives. This uncertainty, this unknown, is part of our lives going forward. So a lot like the Israelites, we're sitting in this uncertain between what was and the future, which we don't yet know. What do we do? However, the Bible continues in verse 9. Now Joshua, son of Nun, was filled with a spirit of wisdom, because Moses had laid his hands on him. So the Israelites listened to him and did what the Lord had commanded Moses. And God never leaves us alone. We never left completely rudderless. We might choose not to listen to what God says, but he always will speak and guide and help us. The Israelites had Joshua to guide them, and as you continue reading, we see that happening. God had provided that. Today we don't have Joshua, but we've got God's word to guide us. And so God never leaves us or abandons us. We might not see him, we might feel uncertain, we might feel all of those things, but deep within our heart we can say, we are not alone. And that is always an encouragement to us. So as we enter this new stage of South Africa's dealing with COVID, we know we do it and we're not alone. We not only have one another, but we have God with us to help us, to guide us, to strengthen, and to keep us. Know that that is true, and know that you are blessed.